my goodness, okay. Thank you, NHLTradeTalk.com, for writing the articles that you do, because, man, do we have ourselves a conversation to be having here in this one. And it's one of those things that you look at it right away and you're like, Lego, why the hell are you making a video about this? It's not going to work cap-wise. It's not going to ever go down this way. There's no way you would see a trade like this be made between these two teams with these players involved. But it's the off-season. It's the start of August. The World Juniors are coming up soon. They're not here yet. The NHL, the regular season, it's not going to be a thing for a while. So whatever topics that are there, you know, I'm going to scrape to the bottom of the barrel to try to find them, baby, because I have a YouTube channel to run, and conversations like these are ones that get people going, even though there realistically is no new news to be talking about. So, as I said at the top, NHLTradeTalk.com is our source for today's article. Thank you very much to Old Prof for publishing this piece 3 days ago on August 2nd, 2022. The Maple Leafs need second-line help. Why not trade for Patrick Kane? The Chicago Blackhawks are rebuilding. The Toronto Maple Leafs need second-line help. Is Patrick Kane the answer? Now, we've made a few videos talking about Patrick Kane and what he is, you know, the NHL impact, the stardom, the Hall of Fame career so far, and we've talked about the idea of the Chicago Blackhawks trading him. We discussed teams that are apparently at the forefront of that conversation in the eyes of the Vegas betting odds maker people, how the Oilers, the Rangers, and the Avalanche are apparently the top teams in the eyes of those people making the bets to see a Patrick Kane trade to. We also talked about the Dallas Stars, how David Pagnotta, the fourth period, said that there was some sort of a link between the two parties in that respect. But this article on NHLTradeTalk.com goes full franchise be a GM mode on us, and it says, hey, why not try Kane to the Leafs? When Maple Leafs GM Kyle Dubas traded Peter Mrazek to the Blackhawks, Chicago had an interest in him because they are in a total rebuild. The way it seems, their GM Kyle Davidson feels that Mrazek will give the team adequate goaltending play while the team is rebuilding. The article then dives into a pretty, let's just say, rational psyche as to what the Blackhawks are exhibiting now when it comes to rebuilding, trading away assets that have value in order to get younger pieces that can help you in the future. You want to bring in young players that have high potential. You could say that the Brinkett and Doc are young players with high potential, but the Blackhawks were apparently wanting to get younger than that. The truth is, the Blackhawks are not all too interested in winning now. Instead, they'd rather pick up high-quality draft choices in next season's draft and probably the season after. They're willing to move their stars for young prospects and draft choices. And so enter Patrick Kane. This is the biggest star on the Chicago Blackhawks, and his name has been thrown around there in trade rumors, not because he's necessarily asked for a trade, but because when it comes to the status of the Blackhawks going through this rebuild and really not projecting to win anything in the next few years, you've got guys at the top of the food chain, like Jonathan Toews, like Patrick Kane, that could, understandably, one day ask for a trade out and eventually get moved to some other team. This is where the Toronto Maple Leafs come in. Could the Leafs convince the Blackhawks to trade their future Hall of Fame hockey star in Kane for prospects? If they could, that would give the Maple Leafs second line a huge burst of energy. Now, this is where the writer of this article goes into the nitty-gritty of what a trade could actually look like. The trade might look like this. It seems clear that Rasmus Sandin, although he could be a great player, isn't willing to fit into the team's plans, so why not move him? As well, young Nick Robertson has been one of the Maple Leafs' most important prospects. He's like DeBrincat in terms of his physique. Robertson is 5'9", DeBrincat 5'7". Could the Blackhawks view him as a DeBrincat clone? They're about the same size, and brother Jason Robertson is playing lights out with the Stars. The Robertson family shows well. Now, I'm going to step in there as a fellow Filipino dude talking about Filipino NHL players, and yes, I have to say that every single time because proud to be Pinoy, baby. Nick Robertson, in my experience, is not really cut from the same cloth that Alex DeBrincat is. Sure, they're both small and they're both kind of shifty, but where Alex DeBrincat excels based off of his pure goal-scoring ability and positioning, Nick Robertson excels when it comes to his work ethic, his skills, and his motor. So not really the same type of sniper, lethal perimeter player that DeBrincat is, but I can see why there is a comparison being attempted here. With Chicago needing some NHL caliber players to mentor its youngsters, in addition to Dubas moving out Sandin and Robertson, he could add a couple of extra players. He could also make the salary in and out work by throwing in Kerfoot and Holl to the Blackhawks. Now, wait a minute. What is he saying? Kerfoot and Holl are making $3.5 million and $2 million, respectively. That's $5.5 million a season getting taken off the payroll here. Patrick Kane's making 10.5 AAV. Well, that's only if you take on Patrick Kane at 100%. If you cut him down to 50% of salary, you have yourselves a $5.25 million a season cap hit, which, for one more season until 2022-2023, would be just enough to compensate for Kerfoot and Holl getting traded away. Now, the Maple Leafs have less than, they're $0 in cap space right now. They're over the cap by $1.4 million a season right now, so maybe there's another salary move or two that needs to be made before this team is cap compliant, and you also have the defenseman replacement you're going to have to make, because right now, with Riley, Muzzin, Brody, Holl, Lindgren, Giordano, and Sandin, if you get rid of Sandin and Holl, you're left with an extra spot that needs to be filled up. Maybe there's a defenseman in the system, in the minors or something, that can help out, like a Jordy Ben, for example, or a Victor Mete. But I don't like that this idea works out as well as it does, because it's so ridiculous to even think about the idea of Patrick Kane going over to Toronto, of all places. This article pretty much concludes by saying that, hey, Kane might not be happy in a rebuild. If he goes over to Toronto, he might actually have a chance at winning a cup. The entire trade could happen, and the Maple Leafs would just have to find a way to move $1.5 million in salary cap space. The Maple Leafs second line would move Tavares to play left wing, Nylander to center, and Kane to play right wing. Okay, I don't really think that's all too productive. Why not just have Nylander on the left? Oh boy. Tavares, who's good in the faceoff circle, could still be used in that role. Kane would be a nice addition to the team, I think. So, link will be in the description if you want to go ahead and read this article on NHLTradeTalk.com, but with everything considered, I thought it would be pretty interesting just to talk about it. Now, is this something that could actually happen? If you're Chicago, if you're John Davidson, and you're saying, okay, we've got 1 year left to Patrick Kane, and we're going to say 1 year left because I don't know the likelihood that this guy actually re-signs for an extended amount of time after 2023 completes. Let's say you got 1 year left to Patrick Kane, and you get Sandin, Robertson, Holl, and Kerfoot in return. Is that enough? I don't think so, to be honest. Like, I know Sandin's a good player. I know Robertson's a good player. I know Holl and Kerfoot have some value, but it's Patrick freaking Kane, dude. Patrick Kane last season was scoring at a 100-something point pace, or was he? No. He had 92 points in 78 games played, multiplied out by 82. He was on pace for 97 points. Which, I mean, okay, you move him from Chicago to Toronto, that 97 probably turns into like a 105, 110 point pace, especially if he's playing with guys like Tavares and Nylander. And imagine that power play, too. Matthews, Kane, and Marner. Darn, I don't like this idea at all. I really don't. And I know a lot of people are going to freak out and say, no, I don't like it either. But then the Toronto fans are going to be like, yeah, let's do that. In fact, why do we even need to add Sandin? Let's just trade away like Kerfoot and Holl for Kane, because of course we could do that. Yeah, I know, delusional Toronto fans. It's not really a Toronto exclusive thing. It's just kind of hockey fans in general. But either way, should Patrick Kane be added on to the Toronto Maple Leafs, this would be a very, very big add for a very short amount of time, because you know the Maple Leafs are not going to be able to re-sign Patrick Kane in any respect, unless he goes the Mark Giordano route and completely takes a huge discount to stick around with that team. But if you are a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, what is your opinion on the idea of sacrificing the long-term of Sandin, whom you already were kind of unsure as to whether or not he would stick around anyway, Nick Robertson, who is a pretty good prospect, Holl, Kerfoot, and maybe even another draft pick for 1 year of Patrick Kane, playing alongside of some of the best players in the world in Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews on the power play, playing alongside Nylander and Tavares in 5-on-5 play. What is your opinion on that? And would you be willing to let Victor Mete or Jordy Ben or whoever slide into the defensive spot role left open by the departures of guys like Holl and Sandin? Talk to me in the comments, let your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Juraj, Roll 99. And bye.